appended to their stolen credit card number, and then you are them. On the internet, no one can tell you're not David Perry. So the sense of invulnerability, I've had people tell me, well, I'm young, I really don't have anything to steal, but your biographical data will move with you into the future. So we will have people who are already broken when they get to their future. But the biggest vulnerability is this. People believe what they can see. They think, I know what's going on with my computer because I can see the display. What you can see on the display is less than 1% of a millionth of what's going on in your computer. Your computer, it's not even an iceberg. It's the fly speck on top of an asteroid. You know, it's a huge difference between what you can see and what's going on. Now, if any of you are computer scientists, you know that there's all of these things going on that nobody ever thinks about. Heap management and the prefetch queue and access control and all of the automatic processes, but you see the display. Well, the display doesn't necessarily show what's going on. And in fact, in cybercrime, it is their goal to make it invisible. So they believe that malware would make sense. You know, they say, well, you got broken into because I got email from you that was Viagra spam, so it must be Jim because the email came from Jim. No, no, no. These criminals are smarter than that. They're stealing Sally's email list and finding one of her people and using that person as the apparent location. You know what you can tell from the origination address on a piece of email is nothing because it was built open. I can spoof it by hand. It can be hand spoofed. And certainly can be automated. So there isn't any making sense to it. There's no visible symptoms to it. And I've gone to yellow, okay? Malware is invisible. It's not all about crime. There's also privacy, security, advertisers, ethics, and locality problems. And if anybody wants to talk to me more about this, I'll handle it on afterwards. But are there any questions about security and college students?
I'll start with one question to see if we have one from the audience, though. You were mentioning that some people are broken now. So do you think there are people who are sort of hoping that these are people who are going to be rich, and when they find out, they're going to go after their data?
Yes, I go to all of the security shows in the world, which means that I'm never home ever. I asked my wife if this was bad for our marriage, and she said, are you still here? But I was just at a show in Dallas, the Anti-Phishing Work Group show in Dallas, and someone from the FBI said, well, basically, the Russian mafia already has your credit card. They're just waiting for a good time to use it. So that's, yes, there is a effort. This stuff is all banked. It's sold and resold on the Alibaba and the 40 Thieves private underground IRC auction channels. The information is sold and resold and resold. And not just to steal your credit card, you may end up working for a company that they want industrial information. It's organized. It's more than organized. Yes.
I can't do my job anymore. I just want to go curl up in a ball.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I scare you?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is because it's not a technological problem. It's a sociological problem. This is just the internet is people. Okay.
But how am I going to ask questions if I'm shaking like this?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Jim Brewer, Texas Tech University Libraries. Could you comment on cloud computing and its role in relationship to vulnerability?
I would love to. So we have 80 million viruses that we're tracking: Trojans, worms, botnets, rootkits, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. All this stuff, the whole bestiary, we're tracking it. We decided a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, we decided this is stupid. All we're doing is slowing down everybody's computer. They hate us. People hate the security software. It slows down your computer. It's inconvenient. And the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, Walt Mossberg said, it's like the policeman knocks on your door at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell you that a criminal did not get through to your house. We've moved most of the security up into the cloud. We're now running a thin client called Titanium in consumer. And we do this with all of our stuff, and we're running what we call the Smart Protection Network. Rather than trying to identify 85,000 new pieces of malware a day, we're identifying the origination points of them, the URL, the IP address of email, and so on. We do that by reputation services that are entirely based on the cloud. And it's more effective that way.
Okay. And
but I'm sorry, I'm red now, but there are security risks in the cloud, and there are security benefits in the cloud. Like the internet itself, it's a mixed blessing.
Okay, thank you. We're all trying to sleep tonight. Anyway, on that note, we need to switch to Newton. And Jose, I think you're going to tell us about some exciting things that are happening in your space.
Sure. Well, hi, nice to be here. Hi, nice to be here. My name is Jose Ferreira, Portuguese name in case you're wondering. And here to talk about adaptive learning. We've heard quite a lot about that already today. I think it's been mentioned 8 or 9 times. And it's one of those terms that's it's coming to mean like a lot of different things. It's kind of like the early days of the internet. Everyone claimed everything was interactive because that was obviously better than non-interactive. And adaptive sounds better than non-adaptive. But it's fairly early days. It's pretty exciting. Hopefully I can inspire you a little bit with what the promise of the technology is, not just terrify you like Dave did. By the way, I still can't figure out how you knew my password is Fluffy. That's incredible. Anyway, so look, here's my kind of envelope summary, what have you, take on 50,000-foot view take on education. Been around for a long time, very important. This is the world's first edupunk or student or what have you. This is from the movie 2001. He's learning tools. And, you know, since then we've had a few revolutions in education. There's Socrates. He's actually about to take poison there, so that's not a good slide. Printing press, 1448, first distance learning. Compulsory education system, 1850s. And these are important examples in history, and they're also immediately preceding enormous movements and advances. And, you know, there's the Greco-Roman civilization, there's the Renaissance, and there's the Industrial Revolution. So education is incredibly important. And I think what's so exciting about what's about to happen is we're about to have our fourth, and that fourth is around online education. And online education, you know, some industry stats that I've picked up from think tanks, textbook publishers. You know, one you'll hear is less than 10% of all textbooks will be printed in 10 years. If it's not 10 years, it'll be 12 years. It might even be sooner. It's all going to be next generation ebook readers. I think we saw some of their precursors today. That's a remarkable statistic. And I think conservative estimates that I've heard are that 10% of all high school and college education will be online. That's the conservative estimate I've heard. I've heard as high as 50% in 10 years. So you're talking about taking globally one of the biggest industries in the world, the most important industries in the world, multi-trillion-dollar industry, an industry that is by far the most important media industry. And you're going to put 10 or 50% online, and quite soon. It's an enormous change. And so what does that look like? Well, there's really 2 things, and there's exactly 2 things that the internet does. Okay, so separate all the hype you've ever heard about the internet and all the big companies in the internet does exactly 2 things. All the value ever created was either around distribution or personalization, right? And most of it's around distribution. So Amazon has revolutionized the distribution of product, books, and so forth. Google has revolutionized the distribution of information. But what Google's really done is revolutionized the personalization, because there were 7 other search engines that were huge while Google was still a startup. Google beat them by data mining. And we've heard a lot about data today. And data is key, and data is critical to adaptive learning. So Newton has built what we believe is the world's most powerful adaptive learning engine. I'm just going to give you a quick demo. And this is, so just to differentiate us from some other adaptive systems out there, we are not an application. It's not like this fits on a DVD and we're going to try to sell you our content because it's mildly adaptive. This is an extremely deeply adaptive, down to the atomic concept level technology, and it's a platform, which means you can use it to power your content. You don't have to buy my content. In fact, I don't even have any content to sell you, or not very much. We produce as little as possible. We really want to power other people's content. And this suite is opening up this year, so you can start building courses using everything I'm about to show you this year. Well, let's take a look. So firstly, it starts with data. And at any given point in time in Newton, so we'll know what your proficiency is down to the percentile level of mastery versus the rest of the population on every single concept in the course you're studying, no matter how granular it is, including concepts you haven't even seen yet using correlation analysis. So we know basically everything about you. We're getting data from time on task, click rate, and especially your response to items. And your response to items at an extremely granular level. So we can produce this learning graph, and I can't exactly see it. I'm looking through some heads here, but you know, we can basically, this graph represents your mastery at these 3 courses you're taking, one on math, one on verbal skills, one on critical thinking skills, 3 different courses.